Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, incredibly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief, and you, by way of our Patreon, which I'll talk about a little bit later in the show. Welcome aboard, everybody. Tonight is Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. This is live stream 1179. As I double check, yes, it is the 23rd. What is saying? I'm like, April 23rd. It is. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out it's super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And then we will normally take a peek at a game release. I might flip through a role-playing game book or unbox a game. Every once in a while, I might talk about something affecting the hobby. But today, we're actually going to dive on in and take a first look at the Doomlings card game from Doomlings LLC. So we're going to be taking a peek at this. You are creating creatures on a world that's ending. So kind of interesting. So we're going to dive on in and take a peek at that tonight. So stay tuned. If you are tuning in to get a peek at Doomlings, do want to point out it's probably going to be about 35 minutes before we take a look, because we always tackle the tabletop gaming news first around here. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And of course, because this is a live stream, there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And also have to be a subscriber to the channel and have been for at least 10 whole minutes before you can take part in chat. Got another way I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you happen to want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my absolute best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Semper Buffo joining us in chat. Kind of quiet in chat so far. A little surprised by that. Although I keep seeing my cursor do the little Windows activity swirl there. And there better not be some update taking place while I'm doing this show, because that actually happens to be something I have set into this desktop here in the Duct Tape Studios. And that is, Windows is never supposed to do any sort of updates between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. Don't know. Kind of weird. Semper Buffo even says, where is everybody? Don't know. Maybe a notification hasn't gone out that the stream is going. I don't even know if the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D is hanging out with us in chat tonight. Guess we're going to find out. We shall find out. I should also point out the audio should be in stereo tonight, or at least in mono coming through both channels, because I double checked that before I went live tonight. That was really weird yesterday, because I went to check the scenes that I have set up when I do my review videos. Everything was fine. And when Windows did that update and changed the audio settings. The videos for my reviews was what the default was for OBS. I have no idea why it made those changes. Very strange. But tonight, audio should be fine. Sarah D says, yes, they are lurking in the shadows. Robert Santon's popping on in, as has Kathy Evans. So welcome aboard, everybody. Let's get down to brass tacks, because Cults of RuneQuest, Gods of Fire and Sky will be arriving next month from Chaosium Inc. I've got the latest. All hail Yelm the One. Thou hast risen again to bless us with thine power. Cults of RuneQuest, the Gods of Fire and Sky, is the player's guide to the deities of the high heavens and the flames beneath the earth. Each cult of the solar pantheon provides new visions of Glorantha and provides mechanics for creating your RuneQuest adventure. This includes 13 brand new cults, including Shargash, the god of war and destruction, Lodril, the god of peasants, and the mighty sun god Yelm. Rules to create brand new RuneQuest adventures belonging to these cults, detailing the skills, passions, spirit magic, and rune magic each cult offers. Details about the unique organization, history, and nature of each cult, as well as rules for how your adventure can grow into a god talker, rune priestess, or even a mighty sun lord. You'll also find the history and genealogy of the solar pantheon and an encyclopedia of Gloranthan celestiology. This supplement can be used with the RuneQuest core rules or combined with the other Cults of RuneQuest books to create a RuneQuest adventure belonging to multiple cults. This 160-page hardcover is going to carry an MSRP of $39.99, which will include the PDF if you order from Chaosium Inc. This is going to arrive in May. The PDF should be available at Drive-Thru RPG for $19.99. It is not available as of yet, but I will mention I've got the book right here. It just arrived today. In fact, I got a few items in the mail today. That is one of them. So I will find out when release date is, as well as if there are any embargoes on any of the reviews for Cults of RuneQuest, the Gods of Fire and Sky. Very cool. Very nice. Moving right along, the English language edition of Lemurian Chronicle Volume 1 for the Mythic edition of Barbarians of Lemuria is up on Kickstarter for Ludospheric Editions. Say that 5 times fast. I've got the scoop. Escape from boredom during a fatal stopover on the island of Shalang. Follow in the footsteps of an old dreamer and his marvel. Let your heart be your guide to the sanctuary of the Shanice. Track down the wizard Eshkasar and unravel his dark secrets. And don't forget to keep an eye on the 3 chests. In Lemuria, there's always a treasure to steer clear of, a damsel to overlook, and a sorcerer to rescue. Welcome to this new Kickstarter campaign for the first supplement of the new Mythic Plus Barbarians of Lemuria book line. In this new Kickstarter campaign, you're offered the chance to get your hands on Lemurian Chronicles #1, the English translation of the first French supplement to the role-playing game Barbarians of Lemuria's Mythic Plus edition. This is a 136-page softcover book full of adventures. Also, there's a 3-piece fold-out screen for the Game Master made of sturdy cardboard with an immersive panoramic image and handy tables and rules to help you run your adventures. Also part of this Kickstarter is a large full-color map of Lemuria. This project is fully funded. You can reserve a copy of the book plus extras and PDFs for a pledge of approximately $59, or you can reserve just the PDFs for a pledge of approximately $18 through April 30th. Expected delivery is May for the PDFs, Although I thought the PDF is actually already out at Drive-Thru RPG. I could be wrong. It's possible. I could be wrong. But as far as the physical book release, that is expected in June. So very quick turnaround on this. I think this is a Kickstarter mainly to get an order count of these softcover books. I think that's what we're pretty much looking at. I have heard interesting things about Barbarians of Lemuria. I wouldn't mind taking a peek at it, because I understand it's got an old school vibe. I think it's another kind of old school themed kind of sword and sorcery sort of fantasy role-playing game, but with a bit more modern mechanics. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's how it actually plays out. All right, let's see. Tessie, Trekkie, Dan Webb, and Sean O'Donnell are joining us in chat. Dan says, that cover looks like they're cousins. Yeah, that's one of the races. I think that's a player race, actually, in Barbarians of Lemuria. The things with the eyes in their chest, they don't have heads. And I can tell you, this piece of artwork certainly looks like it was influenced by Ralph Bakshi's Wizards. Yeah, it kind of has a little bit of that peace vibe going. Yes. All right, on to our next news piece. There is a new bundle of holding which has landed, and it features 5e D&D titles from MT Black. And I've got the deets on the deal. Adventurer. This all-new MT Black Games bundle presents tabletop fantasy role-playing source books and adventures by designer, you guessed it, MT Black, for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition and compatible systems. MT Black is a freelance designer with many best-selling titles, including Baldur's Gate, Descent into Avernus, Mordenkainen's Tome of Marvelous Magic, and Blue Alley. On Drive-Thru RPG and Dungeon Masters Guild, his self-published indie titles have sold more than 100,000 copies. That's kind of interesting. I would have thought more than that, especially since every once in a while, to my knowledge, MT Black will share like free adventures. So I would have thought more than 100,000 copies, but I guess not. Widely praised, I should say, for their concise yet evocative language, sharp information design, and clear layouts. MT's adventures guide you confidently through every scene. In the complete standalone rulebook, the Iskandar Player's Handbook introduces his world setting, a lightweight and flexible backdrop ripe with shadowy intrigues, ancient tombs, and haunted halls. Battle secretive cults, unravel the eerie mysteries beneath cursed lighthouses, and outwit the city's cunning criminals. I've got a cunning plan, me lord. In their layers. Create distinctive heroes with rich backgrounds, outfit them with magical curiosities and artifacts from exotic bazaars, and explore a city teeming with adventure. For just $12.95, you'll get all 9 titles in the MT Black collection, which has a retail value of $58, as DRM-free ebooks, including Anatomy of Adventure, 2nd edition, a giant volume of magic items, Emporium of Wonders, the complete standalone open game license-based rulebook, Ishkandar's Player's Handbook, and the Ishkandar City Sourcebook, 5 ready-to-run D&D 5th edition adventures for 1st to 4th level, and they are nominally set in Ishkandar, but easily portable to any fantasy setting. There's Fraternity of Ash, Keepers of the Pale Flame, Old Town Saga, Secret of Strange Light Hall, and Tomb of the Twilight Queen. These savings will run through April 29th. So there you go. Get your hands on some 5e adventure. Nicely done. Nicely done. Save some bucks there. Sweet. All righty. On to our next news piece. Exalted Funeral has launched a backer kit earlier today for the Job Deluxe box set and I've got the lowdown. You've got one shot at the big score. Diamonds, gold bullion, the Mona Lisa, whatever it is. It's shiny, priceless, and currently not yours. The Job is a fast-paced, no-nonsense role-playing game about pulling off legendary heists with style or going down in a blaze of absolute 100% memorable failure. You and your crew of specialized criminals will plan the perfect caper, dodge laser grids, sweet-talk security, and improvise when, not if, things go south. Think fast, move faster, and whatever you do, don't drop the stack. 12 scenes, one heist, 0 do-overs. No long-winded backstories, no stats to crunch, no character progression. Just a slick, high-tension system designed for one-shots where the only thing standing between you and success is a tower of dice teetering on the edge of disaster. The more risks you take, the higher it gets. Knock it over 3 times, game's up, you're busted. Enjoy life behind bars. But if you pull it off, well, let's just say there's a cocktail with your name on it somewhere far, far away. This is a high-stakes, split-second decision, adrenaline-fueled fever dream where the only rule is, you know it by now, don't get caught. The world is a well-dressed con artist who can talk their way past laser grids, a wheelman who can drift a getaway van through rush hour traffic, or a bruiser who can punch their way out of a bad situation, or into a worse one. It's a world where security is tight, complications are inevitable, and everything that can go wrong absolutely will. But that's half the fun. The difference between a clean getaway and an utter disaster is a razor thin, and the only thing thicker than the tension is a stack of dice wobbling under your fingers. You can reserve a copy of the Job Deluxe box set for a $60 pledge, or if you just want to score the PDFs, you can do so for a $30 pledge through May 23rd. Expected digital delivery is this June. The physical release of the box sets is going to follow in November. The Job has been out on Exalted Funeral before, so it is available as a hardcover A5 sized book. I want to say, I think it's $28 or $29. So this box set is going to include a bunch of additional goodies, which you are looking at right now, or you were just a couple of seconds ago. So there you have it. Pretty nice. I got to say, the 2 crowdfunding projects today had videos. I would have shared them. But of course, the music set off copyright flags. So I was like, oh, new videos for you. On to our final news piece. Our friends over at Pickpocket Press recently wrapped up a successful Kickstarter for the adventure anthology for Shadow Dark. And it's already out in print and PDF. Zoinks! Here's what I know. You are going to find 22 adventures within. Now, I understand that these adventures are actually from an original anthology, which was for low fantasy gaming. So these are sword and sorcery vibed adventures and kind of low magic. So keep that in mind. But we've got 22 adventures, including Call of the Colossus, Vault of Goblin Dreams, Cultists and Crow's Keep, A Perilous Voyage, Last of the Longbeards, Rooftop Rumble, Den of Thieves, Red Moon Harvest, Curse of the Salt Queen, Carnifexum, Whitestone Tower, A Debt Unpaid, Folds Between Worlds, Fane of the Frog God, Vengeance at Trollbridge, Riddle of the Golden Rat, Hive of the Mudmen. Mudmen live in hives? Okay. Halls of the Dwarf Lord, Hanging City of Nchagi, Shadows and Dust, Ruins of Ashabat, and Dungeon Flip, More Skulls for Olgoth. This 220-page hardcover with PDF can be had over at Drive-Thru RPG for $37.95. or you can grab just the PDF alone for $19.95. Sweet. Very cool. Very nice. Once again, more goodies from Pickpocket Press, although it is not for Tales of Argosa. In fact, I thought I stumbled across, I think there was some sort of discussion that somebody had gotten started maybe on one of my tweets. That may have been it. But I guess pretty much everything sold out for Tales of Argosa. So there is probably going to be another Kickstarter later this year or early next. Because I know a lot of folks out there want that offset printing of Tales of Argosa, which I luckily received from the fine folks over at Pickpocket Press. So I don't know how much new stuff we're going to see for Tales of Argosa in the very near future. I would love to see a lot more stuff. I'm kind of curious if the original adventure anthology, because I think there's a couple for low fantasy gaming. I wonder how well those port over to Tales of Argosa, because Tales of Argosa is essentially the second edition of low fantasy gaming. Don't know. You don't know. Tessie Trekkie's asking, has anyone at any point mentioned the Hardwired Island reprint Kickstarter? I have not. I have not mentioned that. In fact, I didn't know anything about it, to be very honest. I can certainly share a news piece tomorrow for it. I shared news about Hardwired Island before when it was out. I'm trying to remember. Is that released through Mongoose? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. I think it's released through Modifius Entertainment. I could be wrong, but I thought it was one of those RPGs that is its own thing. It's its own company, but it was being released through Modifius Entertainment. Kind of like Cubicle 7 Games used to do. Cubicle 7 Games back, oh gosh, about a dozen years ago, they would release their own stuff, but they would also release other games from other publishers. But they got away from doing that because I guess it was a little too much of a pain in the ass. That's what I heard. That is what I heard. All right, so that is a look at the news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, I don't know, Drive-Thru RPG, Storyteller's Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of those One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all of that adds up and really helps keep thegaminggang.com around. And of course, if you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always become a member of our Patreon. That's right. We now have a Patreon page for the Gaming Gang. And I want to give shout outs to our $10 and above tier members. That's right. We've got the Madman, Tessie Trekkie, Dan Webb, Tier 2 DM, and just hopping on board, joining us is GameCat. So thank you very much, everybody. It is certainly appreciated vastly. All right, so we are going to be taking a peek at Doomlings in just a few moments. I did want to mention a couple of things. As I had pointed out when we were taking a look at the new Cults of RuneQuest book, I got some items in the mail today. I got 5e Mortar and Pistol, as well as Hammer and Anvil from my friends over at Cubicle 7 Games. So I will be tackling those. I think we'll take a look at those next week. So we will look at the Cults of RuneQuest book next week. Hopefully I can rock out a review of it relatively quickly, because for some strange reason, I think its release date is May 5th. I don't know why that date is popping into my head, but I think it is a May 5th release. And of course, we already know that Mortar and Pistol and Hammer and Anvil are out. So we will take a peek at those. Also should mention, I was talking about this last night. It's kind of like, do I have like a detached retina or something? So I don't have that like a little flashing. Like if I would take my eye and go like up and down, it was almost like a little flash in my peripheral vision. That's gone. I don't have that going on. And basically what I've been doing is I've been taking my contacts out, wearing my glasses, and then when I come down and do the show yesterday and today, I put my contacts in and they'll come back out. Mainly because if I wear glasses down here, it's tons of glare off of the glasses. So, yeah, and I find it to be kind of distracting. So there is that. But I still have that weird floater, and it almost seems like I've got kind of a misty spot. I don't know if I want to say misty, maybe almost like a smudge. It's weird. So I'm going to see what happens. And then if this doesn't start to clear up, I'll be popping on over to the optometrist to find out what the dealio is. I saw there's also the possibility that it's a tear in the retina, which doesn't require like any sort of surgery. It usually heals on its own. So fingers crossed, that's what it is. Who knows? I don't know. It's not like I said yesterday. It's always something. Yeah. Growing old sucks. It really, really does. Yeah. All right. So tonight we're going to dive on in. We're going to take a look at the Doomlings card game from Doomlings LLC. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Yes, there's an air about hot coffee that's hard to resist. Full-bodied, refreshing hot coffee makes any time a pleasant interlude. Won't you have some now?
By beech nut, by gum, by beech nut, by gum, the flavor starts lively, the flavor stays lively, by beech nut, by gum.
More flavor to chew, more flavors to choose. Like new Beech Nut Fruit Stripe Gum with 5 different flavors in every pack. Lime stripe, lemon stripe, orange stripe, mixed fruit and cherry stripe. And there's extra flavor in every colorful stripe. For flavor that starts lively, stays lively, buy Beech Nut, buy gum.
More flavor to chew, more flavors to choose. The flavor starts lively, the flavor stays lively, by gum. More flavor to chew, more flavors to choose. The flavor starts lively, the flavor stays lively, the flavor starts lively, the flavor stays lively, by beech nut, by gum, by beech nut, by gum.
Let's stop and make a pot of Wilkins coffee.
Keep going. I don't like coffee.
It happened that way, moving west.
Come on, darling.
Is the seventh planet a world with a seventh sense? Can they make things and people appear and disappear?
Who opened the airlock?
Have they new and terrifying powers of mind over matter?
His arms frozen.
Can they reach deep into your subconscious to make you feel terrors more horrifying than you know of?
Give us an hour. If we don't show up, you'll know you don't have to wait any longer.
You have come to destroy me. But my weapons are more powerful than yours. Your own fears have created the means of your destruction.
Journey to the seventh planet in color. I don't know. It sort of looked like the process shots from Earth versus the Giant Spider. I wonder. Desi Trekkie says, your eyes will glaze over in boredom at the movie. Chris Lundgren and his cockatiel buddy are with us in chat. Welcome to you both. All right, so tonight we are going to dive on in. We're going to take a first look at the Doomlings card game from Doomlings LLC. This game is for 2 to 6 players, ages 10 and up, plays in around 20 to 45 minutes, and carries an MSRP of $24.99. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the core game. I think this is what they consider to be the basic game for Doomlings. First thing we'll do is get the shrink wrap off. Now, the fine folks over at Doomlings LLC were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. But of course, neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. It's important you know that. All right, let's take a look at the back here. Somewhere on a doomed and distant planet, life has emerged, competing for dominance until the world's inevitable destruction. Score points by playing traits for your Doomling species, making them more adaptable, resilient, and mischievous. Play traits across multiple rounds called ages, but be warned, hidden in the ages are catastrophes, special rounds that befall the planet, forcing you to adapt your strategy until the end of the world. All right, let's take a peek, see what we have got. We got a little bit of an insert with some planets on that. Here we got our rules. We've got some decks of cards. Looks like these might be some bonus cards there. Cool little insert here. And then I think this is a tuck box for the cards. Oh, no, it's not. It's just an insert like so. That's kind of cool. I like that. Okay, we'll move these over onto the side. We'll take a look at the rules here. So there's a tutorial. We have a score tool also. And of course, you can learn more at doomlings.com. So here we've got our setup. So we are going to separate the Birth of Life. Can I just see the Birth of Life card? Oh, right here. Okay. right there. And 15 catastrophe cards. I bet you that's the rest of these cards here. So we have those separate. Then we've got our age cards. So these are the ages. The age of peace. So, yeah, these are all ages there. And it says we actually have 3 piles with 3 age cards. Let's see, Age of Peace, Glacial Drift, High Tides, Lunar Retreat, Northern Winds, Tectonic Shift, Reforestation. Wow, are all of these going to be different? That's pretty wild. Enlightenment. Oh, it's the Age of Enlightenment. Chris Leonard is asking, is this the 2022 edition? I would think so. We'll take a look. I'm sure we should have a copyright on the rules here. The Messiah. What is this? And it looks like it's Dune. That's kind of cool. It's Moadib. The 4 Horsemen. Mass extinction. Well, we're going from nice, good ages to some pretty bad stuff. Pulse event. Nuclear winter. Oh, that's pretty wild. All right, let's take a look. Do we have a copyright year on here? I do not see it on the rules. Do we see it on the box? No, I don't see it on the box either. I am going to, oh, wait, hang on. Well, this says copyright 2020. So I would say that, yes, it would be. Oh, I see. That says future Doomlings. That's what's the separation for there. Okay, so we've got the ages. We've got, this looks like it's a little bag. There we go. This is the birth of life in our catastrophes. I think these are the catastrophe cards. So we have got these. Got some player aids. So 4 of those. Yep. Looks like we got 4 of those. Then we've got this deck here, which is this our gene pool? Oh, okay. So we got traits. We might have a few different things on this. Chris Langhorn says they looked this up. There's a series of versions. It seems popular. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I don't know, Board Game Geek 6.8. That's not great. But, you know, it's kind of funny. I notice a lot of times, as far as Board Game Geek goes, sometimes those ratings are kind of skewed. That, you know, lighter weight games tend to get lower rankings. Okay, so these are all traits. Yes, I guess they are all traits. Okay, so everybody takes a gene pool card. I guess this is our gene pool. That is the gene pool there. It's still all catastrophes. So see, catastrophes look like that. That's weird. I didn't see they mixed in here. No. All right, am I cracking up? It says separates. I bet you these are catastrophes. Yeah, okay, it says catastrophe. So, all right, so those are all separate there. Because I was going to say, yeah, I guess a nuclear winter would be an age, but it's striking me as being pretty catastrophic. Okay. The object of the game is to score the most points by the end of the world. So each player is going to get a gene pool card, starting off with 5. And then, of course, so that's how you track, just by flipping your card like so. And I guess most you can have is 8 points as far as a gene pool. Maybe. Finally, shuffle the traits like your life depends. Jeez. Shuffle the traits like life depends on it. Deal 5 to each player. Place the remaining stack of traits in the center of the table. So we have the age cards. So we have 3 piles of 3 ages each. Then we deal 1 random catastrophe into each of those piles. So we would have 3 piles of 4 cards with 1 catastrophe in each. And then we stack the 3 piles on top of each other. We take our Birth of Life card, put that on top. And that's how we would start. So you would flip, you're going to flip through these ages. So it appears that we will have 12 rounds. And then the world ends, would be my guess. So to begin, the first player flips the Birth of Life from the age pile, which simply sets the game. Moving clockwise, each player takes a turn. Once all turns are taken, first player flips the next age card, and a new round begins, and so on and so forth. All players follow the age effect before turns are taken. So as an example, the Age of Peace would be ignore all trait actions with an A. Birth of a Hero. If you hold heroic, play it now without restriction. Tropical lands, players cannot play colorless traits. So we're going to go through the ages. So, of course, obviously, we won't use every age card. We will not be using every catastrophe card either. So that gives some nice replay value there. So catastrophes mark the end of an era. To keep track of the game, begin a new era after each catastrophe by starting a new stack of ages. Okay. A fully finished game should look something like this. And they're showing first, second, third era. Okay, so when we hit the first catastrophe, that ends the first era, second era, third era. Okay. Taking your turn. Play 1 trait from your hand face up in front of you. This is your trait pile, and it's how you earn points. Some traits have text at the bottom called effects. These can be bonuses or special instructions. If applicable, play the effect now. So as an example, we've got sneaky. At World's End, you may play sneaky from your hand. Okay. Should we take a guess? These are probably our victory points that we're looking to add up. Let's see what else we got. Kidney. Value is equal to the number of kidneys in your trait pile, including this one. Okay, let's see some other traits. Swarm. Value is equal to the number of swarm traits in all trait piles, including this one. So these are colorless. Mindful. +1 for each colorless trait in your trait pile, including that one. Dreamer. +1 gene pool point. Okay. Inventive. Play an action A from an opponent's trait pile. There's that A. So I guess A must represent an action. Then you stabilize that in your turn. To stabilize, the number of cards you hold must equal the number at the top of your gene pool card. So as an example, your gene pool is 5, but you hold 4 cards, draw a card. If it's 5, but you hold 6 cards, you're going to discard a card. If it's 5, you hold 5 cards, you don't do anything, you're stable. Once you're stable, your turn is over. When all players have taken a turn, the first player flips a new age card and a new round begins. When a catastrophe is drawn, the first player position moves one person to the left. Drawing the third catastrophe ends the game. So you may not necessarily have the same number of turns in each game. So once you get into the third age, it's possible that third age could end at any time. Because the catastrophes are shuffled into those stacks of the age cards. Catastrophes affect all gene pools. All players adjust their gene pool cards before turns are taken. This effect lasts for the rest of the game. Remember, players do not draw or discard until they must stabilize. All catastrophes have a catastrophic effect. Follow that effect before turns are taken. Catastrophic effects only last during that round. Ignore the world's end effect until the third and final catastrophe arrives. And then the game ends. No more turns are taken. It's time for the world's end. Is that what the catastrophes show? They're all different. Yes, they all have a different effect if this happens to be the third catastrophe. So the 4 horsemen. Discard 1 trait from your trait pile with a value of 4 or higher. Pulse event. Discard 1 purple trait from your trait pile. Okay. Moving right along. The world's end. Play the gene pool effect and catastrophic effect just like any other catastrophe. In turn order, players check their traits in their trait piles for any world's end symbols in the bottom right corner. Resolve these effects now. And it looks like that is the world's end symbol. Resolve the world's end effects of the final catastrophe. Remember, no more turns are taken. It's time to tally the score. You might be a swell arithmetician, but in case you aren't, we recommend you grab a pen and paper and follow these steps when scoring. I don't know. It didn't look like there's anything higher than a 4 in there, right? It's like, okie dokie. If the final catastrophe's world end effect gives or takes away points, count those now. Tally the face value of all traits in your trait pile. Count compass stars as 0. Finally, tally up any bonuses or modifiers in your trait pile. Quickly identify these cards. Look for the drop of life in the bottom right corner. Whoever's got the most is the winner. In the rare event of a tie, we leave it to fate. Draw a trait from the top of the deck. Apply only the face value to your final score. And then laugh triumphantly about your well-earned victory. I also see that depending on the color, they also have a little bit of a background. So that way, if someone is colorblind, they'll have a little easier time with that. And then there's some customization. So it says, if a card doesn't fit your play style, remove it. If you want longer or shorter games, you can add or remove an age from the setup phase. Expansions and boosters can be mixed and matched for a variety of gameplay. All right, so that is a peek at Doomlings, your guide to the end of the world. Let's see, we've got our trait cards. Put those right here. Come on, get in there. Okay, here we've got the player aid cards, our birth of life, And here we've got our gene pool cards. I don't know. I guess this is an extra card. It's almost kind of like a foil card. Denial. All right, so these will go into this. Once again, we'll pop that right on in there. Then we've got our ages. Slip these into here. All right. Let's try to put it over here. For some reason, this wasn't fitting very well. There we go. That's better. And we got our rules. And there we have a peek inside Doomlings from Doomlings LLC. So I will have a review of this in the not too distant future. Next time I get together with Greg and Elliot and the rest of the gang, I will bust this out. We'll get a few games of this in so I can share my review. Once again, Doomlings is for 2 to 6 players, ages 10 and up. Plays in around 20 to 45 minutes. Does carry an MSRP of $24.99. Chris Lundgren says, I want this game. Mark Huxwell is with us. Bulligun, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name, is with us. I believe it might be a first-time visit. I don't recognize that name, so welcome up. Welcome aboard. Chris Lundgren says they looked it up, the fans' ratings, so it seems between 7.8 and 7.5 is the general average rating, but they agree the rating isn't terrible. Something else to keep in mind is it seems like a lot of times it is a weighted rating over at Board Game Geek. So, yeah, like I said, I don't know. Because you got to remember, you've got people who their ultimate game, like myself, I love Twilight Struggle, but I also understand Twilight Struggle is its own thing. There are people out there, let's be very honest. There are some gamers out there who little on the odd side, where it's like, oh, well, this isn't advanced squad leader. Oh, it's a 4. Well, okay. All right. Anyway, so yeah, we'll find out. Looks kind of cool. It was kind of funny. I think it's kind of weird that's for like ages 10 and up, and it's got kind of like a cutesy style to it. But essentially, all of these critters are going to die at the end. It's like, okay. Hey, maybe that's how you're teaching your kids about death. All right, I think it's time that we let little Bobby know about the circle of life, and we're going to do that by playing Doomlings. Play a little Elton John in the background. Yep, there you go. You're all set. You are all set. And Darius Termina is popping on in, says, just have to say Doomlings sounds like an Animal Crossing expansion with the Doom guy. I've never played Animal Crossing. I don't have, isn't it Nintendo? Wasn't that Nintendo that does, isn't that the exclusive? So I have never had an opportunity to play Animal Crossing. I don't know. I don't know if it would be my bag anyway. So there's that. Interior says, yes. I guess it is for Nintendo. Yeah, I have not had a Nintendo since, like maybe 2003-ish? Maybe even further back than that. So, all righty then. So on tomorrow's show, we are going to take a look at Changed Stars from Diesel Shot. This is a science fiction role-playing game. This is a game of hope, and I believe transhumanism as well. So we're going to dive on into this on tomorrow's show. And then, of course, next week, we are going to be taking a peek at Cults of RuneQuest's latest release, as well as Mortar and Pistol and Hammer and Anvil from Vault 5e by way of our friends over at Cubicle 7 Games. So we've got that. And we'll see what's going on. We'll see what's going on. We might end up doing our Paizo preview live again next week. All depends on when things arrive. Because I also think the Paizo releases are early May. So you might actually see them next week. And Darius Terminus said, vibe-wise, it's basically Harvest Moon, Season of Stories, or Stardew Valley. I have messed around with Stardew Valley. So there you are. Darius Terminus says it's very much a Mr. Rogers game. You mean when he was in the Special Forces in World War II? That Mr. Rogers? The reason why he wore those sweaters is because he had tattoos all up and down his arms. What? Yeah, because what was the story? I think he was supposed to be a Marine sniper or something. It was like, yeah, okay. All right. Yes. That is it for this time out. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, thank you kindly. Because not only are you keeping me company, you're keeping each other company while I'm doing an unboxing or flipping through an RPG book. So it is much appreciated that you're keeping the crowd entertained. But of course, I know a lot of folks out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you for taking time out of your busy life to watch any of the over 2,100 videos here on the channel. And of course, if you like the video, give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings, right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I share other videos, such as my recent review of The One Ring, Realms of the Three Rings from Free League Publishing. So yes, check that out if you are interested. Join me tomorrow. I am going to discuss my upcoming appearance on Friday with the Philadelphia area Game Expo live stream. That's going to be Friday night at 8:30 Central. I'm going to be sharing links for that because I'd like some folks to pop on in, give me maybe a little home field advantage. We shall see. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. And as always, I certainly hope every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.